Imagine stepping out of, those dense, chilling mists you expect from Ravenloft, and bam, you're hit by the suffocating, just relentless desert heat.
Uh-huh. Total opposite.
Miles and miles of just sand, shifting, endless sand. And then you see it.
Oh, yeah.
Way off on a distant dune, there's this figure, a man wrapped in rotting funeral linen, just standing there, silent.
Creepy. Very creepy start.
And the smell hits you, spices, death, something ancient just wrong, and you realize this thing, this mummy, this is what drained the last body you found, turned it into this dried up husk.
Right, and Senmet making his presence known early.
But here's the real kicker, the twist. This horrifying mummy, he's not the final boss, not even close.
No, you've basically just walked face first into this, millennium-old political conspiracy.
Correct.
A power struggle.
And the only way you might get out alive is to risk everything and wake up the real Dark Lord, the ancient evil.
That's the perfect hook for this one. Tonight, we are definitely digging into the time Ravenloft just threw out the Gothic castles and went full terrifying Egyptian horror. Think Indiana Jones, but way more sanity checks.
Or horror checks, yeah. They swapped the rolling boulder for instant heat stroke, deadly thirst.
And just a staggering number of saves versus fear and horror. This module, it's like a masterclass in using the environment itself in these hidden political games to just tear the players apart long before they even sniff a dungeon.
It's brutal, absolutely brutal. And yeah, its genius is kind of in how constrained and deadly it is.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, everyone, to D&D World Weavers. Tonight we are continuing our exploration of the terrifying dimensions of Ravenloft because, the demiplane of dread, it isn't just haunted houses and misty graveyards and spooky castles.
Sometimes it's sand. Lots and lots of sand.
Exactly. Tonight's 1991 module, Touch of Death, this one's by Bruce Nesmith, it drops us right into the desert domain of Har'Akir. We're talking an Egyptian-style mystery, and yeah, we are definitely talking mummies.
We are. And this isn't just some random mummy adventure you could find anywhere. This one is huge for the Ravenloft metaplot back in the day. It actually fulfills the third big verse of Hyskosa's Hexad, that prophecy driving everything.
Right, the Grand Conjunction prophecy. Which verse was it again?
7th time, the son of sons doth rise, to send the knave to an eternity of cries. That's the one. This module is that event unfolding.
Okay, wow. But what's cool is, even though it's tied into this massive setting event, it's actually pretty versatile, isn't it? You could slot this into almost any D&D campaign.
Totally. Your ship gets blown off course by magical mists.
Yeah.
Maybe you find some weird ancient portal, kind of Stargate style.
Or you're just in the neighborhood, maybe looking for some old ruins to plunder, classic adventurer stuff, and then bam, suddenly the borders close, the heat hits, and you find yourself trapped. You're in Har'Akir? Welcome. Good luck.
Yeah, that bam, that feeling of being trapped, it's not just atmospheric, It's landing you right in the middle of a pivotal moment in Ravenloft's history. We kind of have to talk about the context first, because Touch of Death is locked into the biggest, most world-shaking metaplot event that setting ever saw. The Grand Conjunction.
The Grand Conjunction, also called the Great Upheaval.
That's the one, the Great Upheaval. Sounds pretty dramatic, right?
Yeah, it sounds less like a spooky side quest and more like reality is breaking. What was actually happening during this whole thing?
Okay, so the stakes were basically everything. This Vistani seer, Hyskosa, he foretold this period of immense chaos in 6 cryptic verses, and the whole cataclysm gets kicked off by Azalin Rex.
The Lich King of Darkon, right?
Yeah, the powerful Lich Dark Lord of Darkon. He's desperate to escape his own domain, his prison, so he hatches this absolutely insane scheme. He wants to use the energies of the conjunction to basically force Ravenloft to merge back with the prime material plane.
Wait, merge the whole demiplane of dread with Faerun or Greyhawk or wherever?
Yeah, exactly. Dissolve the mists, break down the barriers between worlds, and, as a little bonus for him, maybe destroy Strahd von Zarvich in the process, who he kind of sees as the linchpin holding the whole prison dimension together.
Okay, so if he succeeds, all the monsters, all the Dark Lords, all the horrors of Ravenloft just get unleashed onto unsuspecting worlds.
Pretty much. Total cosmic horror scenario.
Yeah.
So when you land in Har'Akir during this module, you're not just dealing with local mummy problems. You're caught up in this reality-bending event.
Right. That definitely changes the perspective. So this module is the third sign, the third verse unfolding. Let's break that verse down again. 7th time the son of sons doth rise, to send the knave to an eternity of cries. Who's who here?
Well, the cool thing about Hyskosa's Hexad is it often points directly to the key players. In Har'Akir, you're caught between 3 main forces, 3 big figures. The son of sons. That refers to the pharaoh's connection to the sun god, Ra. That's your main Dark Lord, the ancient, powerful, evil mummy, and Anhktepot.
Okay, so Anhktepot is the big boss, the anchor of the domain, the ultimate power. Who's the knave?
The Knaves, that's the usurper. The ambitious one trying to overthrow the Son of Suns. That's the other powerful mummy, the greater mummy, Senmet.
Anhktepot and Senmet, got it. And you mentioned a third force. The prophecy also mentions a Traitor Queen somewhere, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, implicitly in the wider context and the card reading we'll get to. That figure here is the high priestess, Isu Rehkotep. So you see the setup. The immediate threat you deal with most is Senmet, the knave. But he's being manipulated, or he's enabled, by Isu, the traitor. And their actions are all building towards fulfilling the prophecy, which means waking up the real ancient horror, Anhktepot.
Wow. Okay, so it's not hack and slash.
Yeah.
It's, political horror, high stakes. The whole power structure is cannibalizing itself, and you're right in the middle.
Precisely.
And this whole mess is happening in Har'Akir. Let's talk about the place itself. Ravenloft's Egyptian domain. You said it's simple, right? Like geographically.
Yeah, on the map, it looks kind of sparse. You've got basically two main roads, the village of Mudar, this big canyon cliff face where the tomb is hidden, and just sand. Miles and miles of sun-baked sand.
But that simplicity is deceptive, isn't it? Because the environment itself is basically trying to kill you from minute one. It's like the first Dark Lord you have to face.
Oh, absolutely. The survival rules in this module are not messing around. Bruce Nesmith made the desert itself a major antagonist. Let's take Heatstroke. If you're wearing metal armor, your standard fighter in plate mail.
Yeah, the tank.
That character has to make a constitution check against Heatstroke every 10 rounds.
Every 10 rounds. In AD&D, that's like every minute of game time. Every single combat turn.
Pretty much, yeah. Every single turn. If you're in combat or doing anything strenuous, think about that. A saving throw every turn just to stay conscious in your armor.
That's insane. Was the idea just to make heavy armor completely unusable, or like a constant ticking clock of doom?
I think it was absolutely intended to force you to rethink your entire strategy and equipment. You fail that check. You collapse. Heatstroke. You faint. You need a full night's rest, indoors, cool down to recover. Your main tank just become a massive liability.
Wow. Okay, so ditch the plate mail immediately. What about lighter gear?
Even basic clothing isn't totally safe. After about an hour of exertion in the sun, even characters in light gear have to start making those con checks, and the penalties stack up the longer you're exposed. This module demands you respect the environment. It's as dangerous as any monster.
Which is great horror design, right? The world itself is actively hostile. And then there's dehydration, the thirst.
Oh, the thirst rules are agonizingly detailed and deadly. After just 6 hours without water, you're already taking a -2 penalty to all your saving throws. That's bad enough.
6 hours isn't long in a blazing desert.
Not at all. And it gets worse. After 12 hours, you're moving at half speed. Your strength, dexterity, and constitution scores are all halved. Rounded up, but still. Imagine your big, strong barbarian suddenly struggling to lift their axe.
Okay, that's crippling. What about a full day?
24 hours without water. You literally cannot move, you're helpless, and all those physical ability scores drop to a pathetic 3. Just barely alive.
Jeez.
And if somehow you survive that long, after 48 hours, 2 days with no water, you fall into a coma. And you have to make a saving throw versus death every single turn just to cling to life.
Wow, that level of detail. It really makes the environmental threat feel real and terrifying. You're not just ticking off hit points. You're watching your character physically waste away.
It absolutely elevates the tension, makes finding water the absolute #1 priority. Which brings us to the only reliable source in the whole domain.
The spring in Mudar village.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this isn't just regular water. It's described as being magically charged. Drinking from it can sustain a person indefinitely, even without food. It's literally the source of all life in Har'Akir.
The ultimate resource. So the villagers must guard it like crazy.
Fiercely. They're suspicious of outsiders anyway, but the spring is sacred. They'll let you drink from it freely. They understand survival. They're not monsters. But if you try to fill a water skin, try to take any water away from the spring.
Trouble. Big trouble.
Instant crime.
Yeah.
Punishable by immediate attack. The module is very clear. The whole village might turn on you. So right away, your most basic need, water, puts you in direct conflict with the locals and their laws. It forces a really tough choice right at the start. Survive or respect the rules.
Okay, so while you're battling the heat, the thirst, the suspicious villagers, you start hearing stories. Legends about the ultimate bogeyman of Har'Akir, Anhktepot, the the son of suns.
Yeah, every villager knows his name. He's the reason for everything, basically. His backstory is absolutely critical to understanding the whole domain. He was this ancient pharaoh, incredibly powerful, but also, well, truly evil. And he had this one overriding fear, death. He was utterly terrified of dying. So he commanded his priests, find a way to make me live forever. And they tried. The module mentions gruesome experiments, live dissections on slaves, prisoners, trying to unlock the secret to immortality.
Dark stuff, but they failed.
They failed. So Anhktepot, in his rage and terror, he curses the gods, specifically Ra, the sun god. He basically blames Ra for denying him eternal life.
And Ra answered.
Oh, Ra answered. But, you know, be careful what you wish for, especially from ticked-off gods. Ra granted him a form of eternal life, all right. He cursed Anhktepot so that when the sun was down, during the night, his very touch became instant death.
Instant death. Wow, that's where the module title comes from, Touch of Death.
Exactly. The sun god gave him immortality, but twisted it into this horrific curse. He lives forever, but is a bringer of death under the moon.
So what did he do with this power?
That very first night, he tested it. He touched his wife, Niffer, his servants, his own eldest son. They all died instantly.
Oh, God. His own family.
His own family. And then he discovered something else. The bodies of those he killed with his touch, they didn't just die. They rose again as his undead slaves, mummies bound to his will.
Okay, so that's how he built his undead army and tightened his grip on Har'Akir, using fear and this horrific death touch.
Exactly. He killed priests who opposed him, turned them into mummies. But there's a really interesting kind of tragic detail about his wife, Niffer.
The one he killed first. What about her?
The lore mentions that later she actually appeared to him as a mummy herself. Silent, unable to speak, just this horrifying reminder of his cruelty. She apparently tried to embrace him.
Whoa. How did he react?
He screamed at her to leave.
Right.
And she fled, vanished into the desert, and never seen again. There's this little thread, this hint, that maybe Knave became this rogue mummy dedicated to finding and destroying Anhktepot's other undead children, his other victims.
A force for vengeance that the players might encounter.
It's possible, though she's barely mentioned, more like a footnote. But I love that detail. It shows how the Dark Lord's curse isn't just power, it's isolating, it's torment. It turned his wife into this symbol of his own damnation.
Okay, let's move to the second point of this triangle of terror. The high priestess, Isu Rehkotep. The prophecy hints she's the Traitor Queen, right?
That's her. And her story is fascinating because it's all about slow corruption, theological horror. She didn't start evil. She began as a lawful good priestess of Osiris.
Osiris, god of the afterlife, rebirth. Usually a good guy in the Egyptian pantheon. So what happened? How did she fall?
It's a really tragic, slow burn. Years ago, she was exploring the temple observatory, kind of a dusty, forgotten place, and she found this fragment of an ancient scroll.
Not the Necronomicon, I hope.
Close enough. It detailed this incredibly dark ceremony, a ritual to raise and then enslave a greater mummy.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely bad news.
She knew it was pure evil. Her first instinct, being lawful good, was to destroy it immediately. She tried to burn it. But the parchment, it just wouldn't ignite. The magic protecting it was too strong.
Whoa, so she's stuck with this incredibly dangerous, tempting piece of forbidden knowledge that she literally can't get rid of.
Imagine that. This physical symbol of ultimate dark power just sitting there resisting destructions like a constant psychological torture. Over the years, the temptation just wore her down.
Did she try to get help, pray or something?
She did. She prayed to Osiris for guidance, for strength to resist, for a sign. But silence. No divine answer came. And slowly she started to resent it. She began to think Osiris was weak, passive, useless against the real darkness in the world, like Anhktepot.
So she lost faith in the good God because he didn't give her an easy answer.
Essentially, yeah. Her desperation and the constant temptation led her down a dark path. She started looking elsewhere for power, for answers. And she found Set.
Set, Osiris's brother, the god of chaos, storms, the desert, the one who murdered Osiris in the myths.
That's the one, the archetypal betrayer and evil god in that pantheon. To Isu, Set represented action, power, the willingness to do what needed to be done, unlike the weak Osiris. So she converted. She dedicated herself to the service of Set.
Wow. From lawful good priestess of Osiris to evil priestess of Set, that's quite the fall from grace.
And now, she operates as the high priestess of the main temple in Mudar, but secretly. She's twisting everything. She's subtly changing the rituals, altering the holy texts, grooming the younger generation to unknowingly worship Set instead of Osiris.
She's a hidden corruptor, a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Absolutely. She's a master actor. When the PCs meet her, she presents herself as this sympathetic, pious, helpful figure. She'll even offer to heal them with her clerical magic.
But there's a catch, right?
Always a catch in Ravenloft. She'll cast Cure Wounds or whatever, sure. But if the injury or disease was caused by Senmet or by Anhktepot's power, she goes through the motions, pretends to cast the spell, and sighs sadly and says, "Oh, I'm sorry. The affliction is too powerful, rooted in ancient evil. My magic cannot overcome it."
So she's actively protecting the schemes of the very mummies causing the problems while pretending to be on your side.
Exactly. She's maintaining her cover, playing the helpful cleric, while ensuring the Dark Lord's victims stay victimized. The party might come to rely on the one person who is actively working towards their doom. It's brilliant, insidious villainy. Which brings us neatly to the third point of the triangle. Senmet, the Knave from the prophecy, the usurper.
Okay, so he's another mummy, like Anhktepot.
Yep, he's a greater mummy. One of Anhktepot's original children, as the module calls them. He was actually a priest back in Anhktepot's day, apparently tried to overthrow the pharaoh centuries ago.
Didn't work out so well for him, I guess.
Not at all. Anhktepot killed him. But then, in a weird twist, Anhktepot apparently gave him a full pharaonic burial with all the honors, maybe some lingering respect, or maybe just arrogance.
And this is the mummy that Isu raised using her forbidden scroll.
That's the one. She performed the dark ceremony, successfully raised Senmet from his tomb, and believes she has enslaved him to her will.
Believes. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh is right, because the module makes it very clear. Isu doesn't realize just how weak her control actually is. She used a fragmented scroll, the ritual was likely flawed. She can only exert direct command over Senmet for like 2d4 rounds. Once per day.
2 to 8 rounds. That's almost nothing.
Barely anything, especially for a greater mummy with his own ambitions. He's like this incredibly powerful beast on a very frayed leash, and he knows exactly how frayed it is. He's just playing along, letting Isu think she's the mastermind.
So what's Senmet's actual plan if he's not just Isu's puppet?
His goal is pure usurpation. He wants Anhktepot's throne. He wants to rule Har'Akir himself. And his plan is actually pretty brilliant, tactically speaking. He's channeling all his considerable magical power, his spellcasting ability as a greater mummy priest, into two main objectives.
Okay, what are they?
First, he's secretly trying to steal control over the domain's borders. The fiery magical walls that seal Har'Akir off from the mists. They're called the Walls of Ra.
The Walls of Ra. Okay, so the borders are literally made of fire, maintained by the Dark Lord's power.
Exactly. They're a manifestation of Anhktepot's control over the domain. Senmet is trying to subtly siphon that power, usurp that connection to the land itself, before Anhktepot fully awakens.
Smart. So if he succeeds, when Anhktepot does rise, he finds his control already weakened, maybe even broken.
That seems to be the plan. Undermine the foundation before the final confrontation. His second objective works hand in hand with Isu's actions.
Which is?
Devoting the worship of the people in Ludar. Using Isu as the public face, he wants to turn the populace away from fearing and appeasing Anhktepot and towards this new, twisted version of religion centered on Set, and by extension, empowering Senmet and Isu.
So he's weakening Anhktepot's power base, both magically stealing the borders and theologically stealing the worship.
Precisely. It's a two-pronged attack, and there's one more piece. Senmet is also the one responsible for drawing newcomers into Har'Akir.
Like the player characters. And the Vistani group they meet.
Exactly. He seems to have some ability to subtly influence the mists or call people in, but his goal isn't usually to recruit them. If these newcomers don't quickly convert to the Set worship or prove useful to his plans, they're a liability. They might draw too much attention, wake Anhktepot too soon.
So they need to be eliminated, quietly.
You got it. The players are essentially walking into a trap laid by Senmet. There are potential pawns, or potential problems to be disposed of. They are, quite literally, bait in his long game.
Okay, so let's walk through how this typically unfolds for the players. They get dropped into the desert. What's the first major encounter?
Usually it's the Vistani. They find this small band, their wagon's broken down. They're led by this young Vistani girl named Dulcime. She seems trusting, maybe a bit naive, promises a reward if the PCs help them fix their wagon.
Standard adventure hook seems helpful, but this is Ravenloft, so there's got to be a twist.
Oh yeah, the Vistanis are key for a couple of reasons. First, Senmet specifically targeted them or allowed them to be drawn in because he senses something in Dulcime. She has this weak, latent, untrained ability to influence the mists. just a tiny bit.
Like the Vistani sometimes do. Control the borders, navigate the mists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To Senmet, that makes her potentially useful, a resource to be captured and possibly exploited later, not just another victim to be killed outright.
Okay, so she's marked from the start, but before that plot ticks off, the PCs probably stumble across the bodies, right?
You get your first taste of the specific horror of Har'Akir. Maybe you see a hand sticking out of the sand, you dig, and you find this corpse. But it's not just dead, it's shriveled, brown, like a dried-out husk, every drop of moisture just agonizingly sucked out of it, face locked in this silent screen.
Ugh, nasty. That's Senmet's work.
That's Senmet's handiwork. These aren't just murders, they're experiments. He's creating his own unique brand of undead, the desert zombies.
Desert zombies. How are they different from regular zombies, besides being dried out?
They're actually quite a bit nastier. Forget the slow, shambling groaners you might be used to. These things are faster. They roll initiative normally, not last. And their signature move, they can swim through sand.
Swim through sand? What does that even look like?
The module describes it really vividly. They move just beneath the surface, leaving these little furrows in the sand like the wake of a boat. They could just disappear under the sand and then burst out right next to you.
Okay, that's terrifying. So the ground itself isn't safe? They can attack from anywhere, anytime.
Exactly. They have this special surprise grab attack where they erupt from beneath your feet, trying to seize you, maybe pull you under. It forces constant vigilance. You can never, ever trust flat, open ground in Har'Akir again. That patch of sand could be hiding a dozen hungry desert zombies. And things escalate really quickly. Senmet doesn't wait long to go after Dulcime. On the very first night, the PCs are likely with the Vistani. He makes his move.
How does he do it? Just sends the zombies.
He does, but he adds a psychological element first. He appears himself, way off on a distant sand dune. Just this immense, terrifying figure wrapped in funeral linen, silhouetted against the setting sun or the moon, just watching.
Ooh, creepy. Does anything happen?
Just seeing him is enough for a mandatory fear check. There's a little bonus, maybe +2 because he's far away, but still, it's an unnerving sight designed to distract and terrify.
While you're staring at the figure on the dune.
Exactly. While your attention is fixed on him, 12 desert zombies attack the Vistani camp from the opposite direction. It's a classic pincer move, using fear as a weapon.
Smart. So they're trying to grab Dulcime.
They're trying to kidnap her, yeah. The module says even if the PCs fight bravely, the zombies are likely to succeed in grabbing at least one, maybe two, of her brothers. Marius and Antonio are the default names.
So the PCs might hear them screaming as they're dragged off into the darkness by these sand-swimming horrors.
Pretty much. A grim introduction to how things work here. They're taken presumably to be killed and turned into more desert zombies.
Okay, rough first night. What happens the next day?
The next day, dealing with the shock and loss, Dulcime does something very Vistani. She performs a fortune-telling ritual. They call it the Hex.
The Hex. This sounds important.
It's crucial. This card reading is the main plot device that determines when Anhktepot's tomb will actually open. It sets the ticking clock for the rest of the adventure. The timing, the night of Thoth, depends entirely on how the cards fall.
What if the players miss it? Or interfere somehow?
The module has a backup. If the reading doesn't happen or gets messed up, the default is that the tomb opens in 5 days, which is usually the tightest possible timeline, putting maximum pressure on the players.
Okay, so tell us about the cards. It's not just a regular tarot deck, right? It's specific to Ravenloft.
Yeah, it uses standard playing cards, but with specific meanings tied to the plot. The King card, that represents Anhktepot, the Son of Suns, the Queen, that's the Isu Rehkotep, the Traitor, and the Knave, that's Senmet, the usurper.
King, Queen, Knave, Anhktepot, Isu Senmet. Got it. What about the other cards?
The Ace represents the player characters themselves. The reading will say something like they have a terrible task ahead of them. And the number cards are key. The first card drawn, that is a 3, a 4, or a 5. That number dictates how many days are left until the tomb opens on the night of Thoth.
So it'd be 3 days, 4 days, or 5 days. That's the countdown timer revealed by the cards.
Exactly. And the suits add flavor, too. Spades represents the evil power of the land itself, destruction. Hearts represents loyalty and, importantly, loyalty betrayed.
Huh. So if Dulcime draws, say, the Queen of Hearts?
Ding, ding, ding. You get a major clue that Isu, the Queen figure, is the traitor linked to betrayal. If she draws the Knave of Spades, it hints Senmet is tied to the evil power of the land. It's a really cool way to deliver exposition and foreshadowing through Vistani mysticism.
Very Ravenloft. But the horror isn't over for the Vistani, is it? There's a second night attack.
Sadly, yes. The second night is even worse. Senmet comes back for Dulcime, and this time he's not playing around. He sends a bigger horde, 20 desert zombies, and their sole focus is kidnapping her.
20 zombies. That's a serious fight. What about her brothers?
This is where it gets really dark. The module states that any of her remaining Vistani brothers, they're just automatically overwhelmed, pulled under the sand by the zombies, no saving throw mentioned, just gone.
Brutal, just wiped out.
But the truly, truly horrifying part, the thing designed to stick in the player's minds and probably require a horror check.
Oh no.
As the zombies succeed in grabbing Dulcime and start carrying her away, the PCs might get a clear look at the zombies doing the carrying, and they might recognize them.
Don't say it.
It could be her own missing brothers, Marius, Antonio, now withered, desiccated, undead husks obeying Senmet, carrying their own sister off to her doom.
Oh, that is low. That's psychological warfare right there, using reanimated family members against you.
Absolutely gut-wrenching. And this time, they succeed. Dulcime is captured. She's taken to Isu's hidden temple beneath the main one.
And what happens to her there?
The worst. She's forcibly mummified, turned into another greater mummy under Senmet's and nominally Isu's control. Senmet gets his potential miscontroller neutralized or turned, and gains another powerful undead servant. It's a bleak outcome for the Vistani plot thread. Okay, so Dulcime is gone, turned into a monster. The PCs are probably feeling pretty low, maybe blaming themselves, and then things take another sharp turn on the third day.
How so? What does Senmet do now?
He pulls off a classic villain move, the frame job. He needs the PCs out of the way, and he needs the villagers compliant or terrified. So he arranges for another villager to be murdered near the precious spring.
Another dried-out husk.
Yep, but this time Senmet plants evidence. He takes a piece of clothing, maybe a scrap of cloak or something identifiable that was torn off one of the PCs during the zombie attacks.
Oh, I see where this is going.
And he plants it on or near the body. So when the villagers find the corpse, they also find proof, or what looks like proof, that the outsiders, the PCs, are the murderers.
Well, that's clever. And cruel. The villagers were already suspicious.
Exactly. They were wary before. Now, they see this evidence, instant rage. Any goodwill the PCs might have built up is gone. The villagers refuse to help them, refuse to even talk to them. They might even form a mob. The PCs are now officially fugitives, blamed for the very horrors they might be trying to stop.
Completely isolated, no allies left. Classic Ravenloft squeeze.
You got it. And that sets the stage for the big confrontation on the third night. Isu's mask is about to come off.
How does that happen? Did the PCs just storm the temple?
They get lured there. When the moon is high, Dulcime's phantom appears. It looks just like her, the little Vistani girl, maybe calling out to them for help. But she moves, strangely, an unnatural gait.
A ghost.
A phantom, yeah. She leads them towards the main temple, the one dedicated to Osiris. And then she walks right through the solid stone wall of the building.
Whoa. Okay, definite horror check just for seeing that. That's not natural.
Not at all. It's a clear sign something is deeply wrong. If the PCs follow, they find the back entrance to the temple is unlocked. Maybe Isu or Senmet left it open for them. They go inside, maybe follow the phantom's path towards the main altar. And that's where they find Isu.
Got red-handed?
Caught blood-handed, literally. She's kneeling before the main altar. But she's wearing this bizarre crown, a mix of a cobra and a vulture symbols associated with royalty, but also Set and the air. It smells thick, coppery, like blood.
What's on the altar?
A pile. A grisly pile of fresh human remains. Like, just butchered. It confirms she's been performing human sacrifices. Her hands, her face, they're smeared with blood and tied around her wrist like a trophy.
Let me guess. A bright red bandana.
Dulcime's bright red bandana. That visual confirmation the priestess covered in blood, holding a trophy from the murdered Vistani girl. That's the final reveal. That's another horror check right there. The betrayal is complete and undeniable.
Okay, so combat erupts. How does Isu fight? She's a high priestess, right?
She fights dirty and smart. She uses her magical staff with the cobra, and her first move is tactical. She targets whoever looks like the most dangerous spellcaster in the party and hits them with silence, 15-foot radius.
Oh, smart. Neutralize the biggest magical threat immediately. Shut down the cleric or the wizard.
Exactly. Crowd control first. But the writers gave her an out, a contingency plan, if she starts losing.
What's it?
If the PCs actually manage to defeat her, get her hit points low, she pulls off an incredible deception. She uses her own poison staff, stabs herself with it, just enough to draw blood and look convincing, and then casts feigned death.
She pretends to die, using her own poison weapon to sell it.
Yeah. She collapses, looks totally dead. The idea is the PCs think they've killed her, they leave, and then later, when it's safe, she dispels the feigned death and slips away into the desert to plot her revenge.
That's brilliant. What if the PCs do manage to kill her before she pulls that off? Like, massive damage, just outright kill her.
Even then, she gets the last laugh. The module says her very last action, even as she's dying, after her hit points hit 0. She uses her final breath to point a finger and cast Bestow Curse on a random party member.
Vindictive to the very end. Wow.
Totally. She makes sure she leaves a parting gift. But whether they kill her or she escapes, the real victory after this fight is finding the proof.
Her journals.
Exactly. Somewhere in her hidden chambers beneath the temple, they can find scrolls 2 through 8 of her personal journal. These pages detail everything. Her decades-long crisis of faith, her slow disillusionment with Osiris, her discovery of the mummy scroll, her conversion to Set, and the final entries recording her success in raising and enslaving Senmet.
So that's the smoking gun. Physical proof of the entire conspiracy fulfilling the Traitor Queen part of the prophecy.
It is. And finding her secret shrine to Set downstairs is another chilling discovery. The module describes it as a place of palpable evil where normal light just doesn't penetrate properly. And there's a statue of Set there that could animate as a stone golem.
Uh-oh. Another fight.
But it probably won't. By the time the PCs get there on night 3, Senmet has likely already decided Isu has served her purpose. He subtly interferes with the magic, preventing the golem from animating to defend her.
He throws her to the wolves? Or to the PCs?
Pretty much. Betrayal stacked upon betrayal. Isu thought she was playing Senmet, but Senmet was playing her all along.
Okay, Isu is dealt with, one way or another. The conspiracy is exposed. Surely things calm down now.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But no. This is Ravenloft, and the pressure just keeps ramping up. Dealing with Isu actually makes things worse with the villagers.
How? They should be relieved. The killer is gone.
They might be. But remember, the PCs are still framed for the other murders. And now, the High Priestess is dead or missing. They see that as the final straw. They think the PCs killed her too. So on the 4th day, a big mob of angry villagers comes for them.
What do they want?
They want to capture the PCs and sacrifice them. They think maybe appeasing the gods, maybe Osiris, maybe even Anhktepot, by sacrificing the murderous outsiders will stop the killings and the drought and all the horror.
So now you have to fight off the desperate villagers you were potentially trying to save.
Yep. And the module says this attempt happens every single day from now on until the PCs either leave Har'Akir or deal with the source of the problem. Constant harassment from the terrified locals.
Okay, that's rough. What about the 4th night? Does Senmet take a break?
Nope. Senmet sends his newest, most powerful minion after them.
Oh no, not.
Yes. Dulcime, now fully reanimated as a greater mummy, she attacks the PCs wherever they're hiding, probably leading a squad of desert zombies.
Seeing the face of the girl they failed to save, now twisted into this undead monster. That's got to be another horror check.
Absolutely mandatory horror check. And she fights intelligently. The module even gives her tactics. If the PCs have any vulnerable NPCs with them, maybe they rescue that orphan boy, Isu Rehkotep, who tags along Dulcime, will try to grab the NPC.
As a hostage.
Exactly. She'll grab Abu, hold him tight, and threaten to snap his neck unless the PCs back off or surrender.
Wow. Forcing another horrible choice. Fight the monster she's become and risk the hostage. Or let her escape.
And if the PCs hesitate or don't intervene effectively, the module says she will kill the hostage, just snaps their neck and continues the attack. It hammers home that failure has permanent, brutal consequences.
Okay, this module is just relentless. What about the 5th night? Does it get worse?
The 5th night is meant to be the big push before the finale. Senmet himself comes for them. Not just sending minions, he leads the attack personally.
The Knave himself, with a huge army of zombies.
A massive horde. All the desert zombies he can muster, including, potentially, the reanimated Vistani brothers, maybe even Abu if he was killed and turned. It's supposed to feel overwhelming. Senmet is basically just toying with them now, wanting to crush their spirit before the tomb opens.
Is this meant to be a TPK, a total party kill?
Not necessarily. The instructions for the GM are interesting. It says Senmet should seriously injure the party, drain their resources, maybe knock a few unconscious, but unless they do something incredibly foolish, he shouldn't actively try to kill them all just yet. It's about instilling absolute panic and desperation. Soften them up for the finale.
But this attack gets interrupted, right? Something happens.
Yes. If the fight goes on long enough or if the PCs are trying to flee, suddenly Senmet just stops. He freezes. All the zombies freeze for one round. Then, just as abruptly, they all turn and retreat back into the desert darkness.
Why? What made him stop?
Because the PC spots something new in the distance. Another figure. A lone mummy, staggering slightly, moving with purpose, clearly tracking Senmet. It's not him. It's someone else.
Anhktepot's wife, the vengeful mummy.
That's the implication. She's finally appeared, drawn by the conflict, maybe sensing Senmet's challenge to her husband's power. Her presence is enough to make Senmet pause his games and reassess. The plot thickens. Okay, so that brings us to the sixth night. This is potentially the night of Thoth, the night the stars align, and the tomb finally opens. The PCs need to get to the Valley of the Pharaoh's Rest, where the tomb entrance is hidden in the cliff face.
Is getting there easy?
Easy. Now, getting into the valley, the canyon leading to the tomb, is a death trap if you arrive too early.
How so? More zombies?
Worse, death dogs. 50 of them.
50 death dogs. Those things have, like, multiple heads and infectious bites.
Exactly. 50 of them, magically sustained by Anhktepot's lingering power in that dead valley. If the PCs enter the canyon before the Night of Thoth alignment is perfect, the dogs attack relentlessly. They come in waves, 2d6 appearing every single round.
2 to 12 death dogs every 6 seconds. That's unwinnable.
It's meant to be. It's an overwhelming resource drain. The module basically says there's only one safe place, a small, ruined shrine building within the canyon. For some reason, the death dogs refuse to enter the shrine. So you can hide there, but you can't proceed until the dogs go dormant.
When do they go dormant?
Only on the Night of Thoth itself, when the planetary alignment clicks into place. Then, the dogs finally sleep, and the path to the tomb entrance is clear.
Okay, so you survive the death dog gauntlet, you find the entrance, which only appears on this specific night. What's inside the tomb of Anhktepot?
Traps. Lots of traps. But interestingly, most of the traps aren't designed to keep people out. They're designed to keep things in. Or rather, to prevent anyone from easily leaving once they're inside.
Ah, preventing escape. Like what kind of traps?
There's a main staircase going down, and it's heavily trapped. Pressure plates that make entire steps tilt downwards, forcing dexterity checks to avoid falling. There's a deep pit trap hidden further down, filled with flesh-eating scarab beetles.
Ew. Scarabs. Okay, very thematic.
Very. And there are patches of deadly mold, like russet mold, that release spores, causing significant damage if disturbed. It's a dangerous descent.
And then the crypts themselves, right? The crypts of the children. Is there treasure?
Oh yeah, there's immense treasure. Gold, jewels, artifacts buried with Anhktepot's unfortunate offspring. But looting it comes with a potentially devastating price. There's a specific, really nasty curse tied to greed here.
What is it? What happens if you loot too much?
The rule is, if the party takes more than half the treasure from any one of these children's crypts, one member of the party, chosen randomly, or maybe the one who grabbed the most, is afflicted with a unique curse.
Okay, hit me with it. What's the curse?
The victim ages 1 year for every single day that passes.
Wait, what? 1 year older every day?
Every single day. So after a week, you're 7 years older. After a month, 30 years older. Think about it. After just 100 days, a little over 3 months, your character's physically over 100 years old.
Oh my God. That's horrifying. What happens then?
The module says once they pass that threshold, their body is ancient, frail. They lose their memory, become senile. They might live on for their natural lifespan, but in this state of utter misery and decay. It's a fate arguably worse than just dying.
That's pure Ravenloft horror right there. Not just death, but slow, inevitable, conscious decay. How is a party even supposed to deal with that? It basically ends that character's adventuring career instantly.
Pretty much. It forces this incredible dilemma. Do you risk grabbing the treasure that might help you survive the rest of the tomb, knowing it could doom one of you to this slow, horrific end? Or do you leave it, potentially crippling yourselves financially and resource-wise? It also puts immense pressure on the party later to find incredibly powerful magic, like a wish spell, which is notoriously hard to come by in Ravenloft, just to reverse it. It's a brilliant, terrifying curse. Okay, so navigating the tomb is deadly, looting is deadly. How do the PCs actually succeed? What do they need to find?
There are a few key things. In one of the crypts, room 8A, they find Thukpot. He was Anhktepot's eldest son, the first one killed by the touch, and he's here as a mummy. But interestingly, he's been awake ever since his death centuries ago.
Awake. And hostile. Hostile, yes. He attacks any living creature on sight. But the fascinating thing is his motivation. He doesn't blame his father, Anhktepot, for killing him. He blames the god Ra for giving his father the deadly touch in the first place.
Wow. So he's this ancient, tragic figure driven by misplaced divine vengeance. That adds a layer of complexity.
Definitely. He's not just a monster. He's a victim with a skewed perspective. Then, there's a crucial piece of information, literally, hidden inside the eye socket of a giant statue of Anhktepot.
Yeah. What's in the eye?
A wizard scroll. Containing the spell, comprehend languages.
Ah, that's perfect. Especially if the party wizard didn't happen to have it memorized. They need that to read Isu's journals, maybe decipher hieroglyphics in the tomb.
Absolutely. It's positioned perfectly for the clever player, the learner type, to realize they need context and language to solve the deeper mystery. It rewards investigation.
Okay, good utility item. But what about dealing with Senmet and potentially Anhktepot himself? They need something more powerful, right?
They do. And the key artifact for that is a magical ankh, a holy symbol. But it's broken. They find it in two separate halves.
Where are the halves?
One half is found in the crypt belonging to Nefer, Anhktepot's wife. Her sarcophagus is empty, shattered, suggesting she escaped or rose on her own. One half of the ankh is lying amongst the debris there.
Okay, connecting back to her, where's the other half?
The other half is hidden in the priest's crypts, room 10, a different section of the tomb complex. So the party has to explore thoroughly to find both pieces.
And when they find both halves, what happens when they put them together?
The moment the two halves touch, they magically fuse together, instantly becoming whole again. And this completed Ankh of Ra, or maybe Osiris, doesn't explicitly say it have a powerful effect.
What does it do?
It allows any cleric holding it to turn undead as if they were one level higher than they actually are.
Ooh, that's significant. Greater mummies like Senmet, and especially Anhktepot, are usually incredibly hard to turn because they're such high-level undead.
Yeah.
That bonus can make a huge difference.
It's absolutely vital. It gives the party's cleric a fighting chance against the main threats. It doesn't make them invincible, but it levels the playing field just enough to make the final confrontation survivable, maybe the key weapon they need. Which brings us to the finale, the moment of truth, the fulfillment of the prophecy. This all goes down in the funereal barge room, room 12.
The funereal barge, like a big boat inside the tomb.
Exactly. A massive ceremonial barge meant to carry the pharaoh's soul into the afterlife. Inside this barge, there's a large gong, engraved with the image of Osiris, and the players have the completed magical ankh.
Let me guess. They need to strike the gong with the ankh.
That's the trigger. If a player character takes the magical ankh and strikes that gong, two things happen instantly. First, the ankh shatters. Its power is expended in this one act.
Okay, one-time use. What's the second thing?
The gong releases this sound, described as an unearthly tone. It vibrates through the entire tomb, maybe the whole domain.
Yeah.
It's so shocking, so alien, that all PCs present must immediately make both a fear check and a horror check, just from the sound alone.
Wow. A sound that forces 2 saves. What does the sound do?
It does exactly what the prophecy foretold. That unearthly tone triggers the 7th rising of Anhktepot. The Son of Suns is awake.
He rises from his sarcophagus. Right there.
Right there. And the stakes become immediately, terrifyingly clear. The module states, to simply stand in Anhktepot's presence, this ancient font of negative energy and divine curse for more than one round, is almost certain death for the player characters. He radiates an aura of despair and death.
Okay, so rule #1. Do not hang around Anhktepot. Got it. What happens next? Does he attack?
He might eventually, but someone else gets there first. Senmet, remember, he's been lurking, waiting. He hears that gong, feels Anhktepot's rising. He immediately rushes towards the barge room. The module says he just swats aside any PCs in his path. No barrier, magical or physical, can even slow him down. He's laser focused.
Focused on Anhktepot, the confrontation.
Exactly. The Knave versus the Son of Suns. The usurper versus the ancient ruler. The fight between these two incredibly powerful greater mummies begins right there in the barge room, and it's cataclysmic. The whole tomb shakes. The air crackles with dark energy.
This is the main event, the climax the prophecy spoke of.
It is. And this fight, this direct clash between the domain's true Dark Lord and the usurper trying to steal his power, it has a critical side effect. Remember the walls of Ra, the fiery border Senmet was trying to control.
Yeah, what about them?
The sheer magical chaos unleashed by Anhktepot and Senmet fighting causes the walls of Ra to fall. They collapse. The fiery barrier around Har'Akir just dissolves into the mists.
The borders are down, the prison is open.
For a limited time, yes.
Yeah.
PCs suddenly have an escape route, but it's a very, very narrow window. They basically have until the next sunrise.
So while the two mummies are busy tearing each other apart, shaking the tomb down around them, The PCs need to run.
That's their chance. Get out of the tomb, navigate past waking death dogs perhaps, get out of the valley and flee across the now open border before sunrise, before the mists reform or one of the mummies wins and it potentially seals it again. It's a desperate final race against time.
Do they get any help?
They get one final poignant piece of guidance. If they manage to escape the tomb and are fleeing Har'Akir through the broken borders, the Phantom of Dulcimai appears one last time.
The Vistani girl, her ghost.
A phantom, yeah. Using that last vestige of her weak innate Vistani power over the mists, she guides them. But here's the best part, the true reward for surviving all this horror.
What is it?
She doesn't just guide them into another domain of dread like the mists usually do. She uses her power to guide them out of Ravenloft entirely, back to their own home world, wherever that might be. She secures their actual freedom.
Wow. So she gets her final redemption, in a way, by helping them escape the nightmare.
Exactly. And with that final act of guidance, her tormented spirit finds peace. Her phantom fades away for the last time, finally at rest. It's a really bittersweet, but ultimately hopeful ending for the players. They survived. They escaped Ravenloft, thanks to the ghost of the girl they couldn't save earlier.
Wow. Okay. So Touch of Death. It's more than just a mummy hunt, isn't it? It's this intricate puzzle box of survival horror, political intrigue, and prophecy.
Absolutely. It's a narrative masterpiece, really. The way it weaponizes the environment, the heat, the thirst, the sand zombies, it's relentless. And then layering that with the political maneuvering between Anhktepot, Isu, and Senmet, it's just brilliant design.
It really forces you into these impossible situations, like needing the villagers' help but being framed for murder, or having to awaken one ancient evil mummy just to escape another slightly less ancient evil mummy. Choosing the lesser of two evils is the name of the game.
It really is. And it makes you think when you look back at the whole Grand Conjunction storyline and the kind of fates waiting for people in domains like Har'Akir, when you're caught between these megalomaniacal Dark Lords, the Son of Suns and the Knave, is just escaping ever truly a win? Or is it just, buying time until the mists find you again somewhere else?
That's a chilling thought to end on. A temporary reprieve. Speaking of Dark Lords and the wider prophecy, if you want to explore more about the Grand Conjunction, find out what happened next in Hyskosa's Hexad, or just dive into more classic Ravenloft, well, you know what to do.
Yeah, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, maybe share this exploration with your gaming group, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next trip into the archives.
And please leave a comment below. Did you ever play Touch of Death back in the day? Did your party survive the heat? Did you fall for Isu's lies? Did you manage to escape Har'Akir? Share your war stories, or maybe point out a cool detail we might have missed. We love hearing from you.
You can check out all our discussions, all the past explorations of these amazing old gaming materials over on the Triptogram Productions YouTube channel. You'll find gaming content, music videos, all sorts of stuff. It's a great place to browse.
Right. New explorations like this one, covering classic D&D stuff, drop every Saturday night. And we always try to link to resources or PDFs in the description if we can find them, so you can follow along or check them out yourself.
Definitely let us know in the comments if there's a specific old RPG book, a favorite module, maybe another Ravenloft source book you'd love for us to take a look at. We're always looking for suggestions.
We also really need to take a moment and thank Ken, the producer of the show. He does so much behind the scenes, digging up these documents, preparing materials, making sure everything gets edited and uploaded so we can share this with all of you. His feedback is always insightful too.
Absolutely. Huge thanks to Ken. And a massive thank you to all of you for tuning in each week, for exploring these classic D&D realms with us. It's a blast sharing this stuff. And also a special shout out to the digital archivists out there.
Oh yeah, the folks who scan and upload and preserve all these old books on places like archive.org. Seriously, without them, so much of this gaming history, these incredible modules and source books would just be lost to time. They're doing fantastic work.
Hear, hear. They really are heroes of preservation.
So we are going to keep diving into the shadows of Ravenloft for the next few weeks, leading right up to Halloween. And next week, oh boy, next week promises to be a real thriller.
Okay. Nice one.
That's right. It is officially zombie time next week as we look at another Ravenloft classic, RA1, Night of the Walking Dead. Get ready for some Southern Gothic zombie horror. You won't want to miss it.
Oh, that's a great one, too. Very different feel from Har'Akir.
Yeah.
All right, looking forward to it.
Us too, so be sure to tune in next time. Thanks for listening, everyone.